Well, I know this isn't the best situation. I tried 3 times at school to get this to video. It did not work. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I'll speak as loudly as I can. Get ready for the final exam. The things you need to know. Starting with the economic terms. A bear market. Bear market. Things are going slow. People don't trust it. Bull market. That's when things are going rather quickly. People like stocks. They're buying them as fast as they possibly can. Things are moving back and forth real quickly. Bonds, those are what people are buying from the government. From the government, they get them a little higher interest rate. However, you can't touch them for a long time. Budget, we did that in class. That's a plan to spend money. Surplus, that's going off of our supply and demand curves. A surplus is when you price it too high, a lot left over. Left over is a surplus. Supply and demand economics. We talked a lot about that. Supply is exactly how much you have of something left. Stocks, that's part of a company you can buy. Social Security, that was the government's plan kind of for your retirement. You pay in while you work, you take out when you're done. Shortage, a shortage is, again, off the supply and demand curve. If you don't price your good high enough, shortage means you run out of things too fast, usually because you didn't price it high enough. Services, those are things you get, but you don't actually hang on to. A service would be something we mentioned in class, like a haircut. You pay for that, but you really don't have anything to hold on to long term. Premium, that is the yearly cost for your insurance. The opportunity cost, that's what you give up when you make choices. If I have $10 left and I want a sandwich at Culver's and I want gas for my car and I choose the sandwich, that means I'm without gas. Maybe I have to walk home and work off that Culver's sandwich. Who knows? Interest. The interest is what the extra is you pay back to the bank or the creditor when you use their cards or get their loans. Insurance, that is what you buy, like home, auto, health, and life, to protect you in case things go bad. Goods. Goods goes with services. Services, like we said, that was what you don't hang on to. Goods are what you do hang on to. An example of a good could be maybe a new pair of shoes. Those are goods. FAFSA, that's your starting point for your college education. Get that on quickly. Equilibrium, that's where the supply and the demand meet. An entrepreneur, that's a person who takes the risk of starting a business. Demand is the big one between supply and demand we talked about. The demand is how bad people want something. The more that want it, the higher the price will go. Deductible, that is what you pay out of your pocket before the insurance kicks in. If I have a $200 deductible, I go to see the doctor, it costs me $1,000. The first $200 comes into my pocket, the insurance covers the last 800. Currency, that went through a lot of your in class today. Currency is just any form of money used to trade. We have the dollar here in America. They have the euro in Europe. You can find other different types of money in other different countries. Credit, and that is just what you get from banks or stores so that you can buy things without having cash. It's using bank or store money to make purchases. The CD is certificate of deposit. Again, that's going to the bank. That's taking money out, promising to leave it for a longer time and not taking it out. Those are the economic terms. Moving on to the government terms. Veto. President doesn't agree with the bill, he vetoes it instead of signs it. Unanimous, everyone agrees. State of the Union address. President goes before Congress, tells what country is doing. Repeal, that is how you get rid of an amendment. Congress may repeal an amendment. Prohibition, the time without alcohol. Remember the 1920s, Al Capone and such. Preamble, the opening paragraph to the Constitution. A patent is what is given to an inventor to protect his ideas. Pardon, that is when you excuse someone from a crime. Override, that is going around the president's veto. Congress two-thirds vote can do that. Abolitionist, that is a person against slavery. An ambassador is a president's advisor in another country. Amendment is any addition to the Constitution. Cabinet, president's closest advisors. There's 15 of them. Census, a people count taken every 10 years. Copyright, that is given to a writer to protect their ideas. Discrimination, treating someone differently because of race, religion, color, gender. Double jeopardy, being tried for the same crime twice. Due process. This one threw you guys off in class today too. That's the steps taken to protect your rights. Excessive, too high. The Eighth Amendment says no fine can be excessive. Impartial, having no opinion before a trial begins. Impeach, attempting to remove the president from office. Inauguration, the day the president is sworn into office, January 20th. Income tax, the tax taken directly out of your paycheck. Mint, where coins are minted, where coins are made. National debt, what our government owes. Override. I think I gave you that one already, but again, that's going against the president's veto. Well, that's the vocabulary section. Next up is the general information section. Things you know already. The legislative branch's main job is to make laws. They're led by Congress. The House of Representatives is based on population. The Senate is based on equal representation. The President leads the executive branch. Barack Obama is the current chief executive. We elect the President every 4 years, coming up in 2016. In what month do we elect him or her? In November. The first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. Supreme Court leads the judicial branch. There's 9 Supreme Court justices. Getting into the Bill of Rights, speech, press, assemble, religion. Yep, First Amendment. Second Amendment, you have the right to own a gun, even if you don't know how to use it. 61. Let's see, what does the Fourth Amendment say police need? A warrant. Helps you out there. A warrant. Fifth Amendment, can't be tried twice for the same crime. That's double jeopardy. That appears way too many times in the test. If you choose not to speak against yourself, you are pleading the Fifth. The Sixth Amendment, he says you have a lawyer. Seventh Amendment, a jury trial in a matter for $20. Eighth Amendment, no punishment may be cruel or unusual. Ninth, not all your rights are listed in the Constitution. 10th, any power not taken by the federal government goes to the states. We talked about the marriage age, the drinking age, and such. The 11th Amendment says you have the right to appeal cases to the federal courts. The 12th Amendment says people actually vote for the president or the Electoral College. 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments are the Civil Rights Amendments. Income tax from your paycheck. The 18th Amendment says no one can make or sell alcohol. 19th Amendment, women the right to vote. President takes office in January 20th, according to the 20th Amendment. The most number of years a person can be president, we said, was 10. 23rd Amendment gave Washington, D.C. 3 electoral votes. 24th Amendment says no more poll tax. If the president dies, the vice president takes over. And you can vote at age 18. As we round out the test, we have our archies involved here. We have anarchy, the one you guys like, because there's no leadership or no ruling at all. You have monarchy, that's a king or a queen. You have oligarchy, that's a rule by a few, usually the rich. Then there's theocracy, ruled by a supreme being. Dictatorship, ruled by one, usually with military force. Direct democracy and representative democracy we talked about as well as we began. Direct is everybody gets one vote, every vote counts, every voice is heard. Representative is when you pick someone to represent you. Some things you got to know about order of the way things happen too. You understand that before anything we declared our independence, then came the Articles of Confederation, followed by the Preamble and the Constitution. The Virginia Plan was brought forth to create Congress. That favored the larger states. Then came the New Jersey Plan, which favored the smaller states. They compromised and created Congress as we know it today. Well, we round out with the last 10 questions here. Paul Ryan is our representative. You've got Tammy Baldwin and Ron Johnson, our senators. Our nation's capital is Washington, D.C. You got to be 35 to become president. 270 is that magical number of electoral votes needed to win the election. In jury cases, mostly you'll have 12 people. Grand juries are more, but we didn't really talk about grand juries a whole lot. The president and vice president both died. The Speaker of the House takes over. In this case, is John Boehner. What war do we fight for independence? The Revolutionary War with England. And you have the donkeys and elephants. Got to remember those guys too. Hey, just a little, for those of you who bothered to take the time to listen to my video tonight, I want to give you a little bonus. You might want to look up for extra credit. Who is the host of CNN Student News? Remember that funny looking guy who likes his puns at the end? His name might show up in extra credit. And those of you still with me even more, one more little help and extra credit, maybe, just maybe, you want to jump on the national debt clock, take a look at the national debt, and find how deep in debt we are. Well, folks, that's it. 100 questions. Sounds like a lot. I'm expecting you to nail it. Have a great night. Hopefully you get a chance to view this. I'm going to see you in the morning how many of you did watch. Go ahead and leave me a little note. Tell me you're here. And other than that, have a good night, folks. Go Brewers. Bye now.